So going on with the clinical features. So what is hypercalcemia? CRAB criteria C. C is hypercalcemia. So mechanism, if you see, myeloma cells produce osteoclast activating factors, OAFs. They are RANKL, IL-6, MIP-1 alpha. So they cause osteoclast activation. So whenever the osteoclast gets activated, what it causes? It causes bone resorption. So calcium is released into the blood. So calcium increases. The serum calcium more than 0.25 or above upper limit of normal or more than 2.75 millimole, more than 11 milligram per deciliter. So this is the normal. So more than 11 milligram per deciliter if serum calcium is, then it is hypercalcemia. What are the symptoms? Patient may have fatigue, confusion, altered consciousness, constipation, nausea and anorexia, continuous nausea, anorexia, polyuria, polydipsia because of nephrogenic diabetes insipidus, then exacerbates the renal failure. So, predominant symptom that the patient says fatigue, anorexia, and nausea, vomiting, or some kind of constipation that is attributable to hypercalcemia. Okay, so the management is IV hydration with normal saline, zoledronic acid or denosumab, corticosteroid. Forced diuresis itself is a treatment. So, we can go ahead with IV hydration and corticosteroids, start anti-myeloma therapy urgently. Whenever we are giving anti-myeloma therapy, hypercalcemia comes down. Even with good dose of steroids, if we are starting, it helps a lot. Okay. CRAB. So, renal failure, anemia and bone lesions. So, renal failure, if you see, creat more than 2 milligram per deciliter is the criteria. Mechanism, light chain cast nephropathy. So, what is it? So, these are the light chains that are produced in the, because the myeloma, the light chains are produced, they produce the cast in the renal tubules and give rise to nephropathy. Then the hypercalcemia is also attributing to renal failure, dehydration, NSAIDs or contrast if we had given NSAIDs for back pain or anything, or even the contrast that are given for multiple radiological investigations. So, all this can attribute for the renal failure. And there is amyloidosis. Sometimes there is 10 to 15% having amyloidosis. So, this also contributes to the renal failure. Symptoms, if you see, there is severe oliguria, edema, electrolyte imbalances, metabolic acidosis, and may need dialysis. So, these patients may need dialysis. There is severe oliguria, edema, electrolyte imbalance, and metabolic acidosis. Okay. So, action, if you see, bortezomib based preferred, not lenalidomide. So, bortezomib based therapy is preferred for renal failure. VCD, DARA VCD for acute renal failure. Cyclophosphamide based therapy is preferred rather than lenalidomide based therapy. Plasma exchange if cast nephropathy is present. So, sometimes if it is severe renal failure, then we need to have plasma exchange. Okay. So, anemia, if you see, hemoglobin less than 10, usually more than 2 grams below the lower limit of normal. So 11 or 10, it can be used. So mechanism is bone marrow infiltration, reduced erythropoiesis, EPO deficiency. So renal failure causing EPO deficiency resulting in anemia. Anemia of chronic disease, direct erythroblast destruction with DKK1. Okay. So these are the features. Then comes the symptoms, fatigue, dyspnea, pallor, palpitations present in 70% of the diagnosis. What action has to be taken? We have to start anti-myeloma therapy, which is definitive, EPO in selected cases, and transfusion of acute severe symptomatic anemia. We need to give blood transfusions. So, bone lesion. So, more than one or equal to one osteolytic lesion on CT, MRI, PET. So, mechanism is same. OAF gets activated, osteoclast activating factor. So, they stimulate the osteoclast and osteoblast get inhibited, so there is no new bone formation. However, the existing bone gets resolved and there is osteolytic lesion. Okay, unlike metastatic cancer, which may be sclerotic. So sometimes the metastatic malignancies, if you see, they could be sclerotic, but here it is osteolytic. So the major symptoms are back pain, pathological fractures, vertebral collapses, and cord compression, which is an emergency. So back pain is the usual problem. The patient presents with low back pain in most of the myeloma cases. So action, you need to give zoledronic acid or denosumab every 3 to 4 months. Initially, you have to give every month for first 1 year, then 3 to 4 months. Kyphoplasty for vertebral fractures. If there is vertebral fracture, then go for vertebroplasty or kyphoplasty. RT, radiotherapy for focal pain or cord compression. If it is severe pain, then we can go for palliative RT. Okay, slim biomarker, myeloma defining events. So in detail, if International Myeloma Working Group 2014 was the criteria, these criteria had come into existence. So each carried 80% risk of progression to organ damage within 2 years. So these paradigm shift, this was because we are waiting for the end organ damage to happen before starting the treatment in myeloma. So that space got disrupted with the this paradigm shift had happened. What had happened is they have introduced new criteria to pick the myeloma early so that end organ damage doesn't result. So what is it? One is 60. So slim, SLIM. Okay. So S is 60%. What is it? Criteria, clonal bone marrow plasma cell more than 60%. How to test? You have to do a bone marrow aspiration and biopsy, CD138 IHC for staining. Use highest percentage between the aspirate and biopsy. Usually we go by aspirate count. And what qualifies near complete marrow replacement or more than 80% developed cramp within 2 years. So when in biopsy there is complete replacement with plasma cells, and in aspirate if you see more than 60% plasma cells. If it is there, then we go with slim criteria. Yes, even with zero CRAB features, it is called as active multiple myeloma. So LI, okay, even with zero CRAB features is active myeloma. LI is light chain ratio more than 100. So involved by uninvolved SFLC more than 100. If it is involved by uninvolved more than 100, then it qualifies as a myeloma defining event, and then also it is called as multiple myeloma. Okay, the serum FLC ratio, not the serum protein electrophoresis. Both conditions must be simultaneously met. If involved FLC is less than 100, it does not qualify. Okay, so uninvolved by involved should be more than 100 and involved FLC should be more than 100 milligram per liter. Okay, so that is how you qualify it as SFLC more than 100. Ratio is more than 100. So extreme ratio, very high secretory burden, highest specificity of 3 biomarkers. Okay, so this is check both ratio and absolute values. The absolute value should be more than 100 and the ratio also should be more than 100. Okay, MRI focal lesion. If it is criteria is more than one focal lesion on MRI, each at least 5 mm and minimum 2 lesion each 5 mm distance. So at least more than one or equal to 1 focal lesion on MRI, at least 5 mm of size should be more than 5 mm. So how to do? Do a whole body MRI preferred, spine plus pelvis MRI is acceptable, and single lesion not sufficient. Okay, so you have to do a whole body MRI, and focal lesion should be at least 5 mm in diameter. So minimum 2 lesions each more than 5 mm. Y qualifies, detects marrow infiltration before osteolysis. Best use in smoldering multiple myeloma surveillance. So instead of doing bone marrow biopsy every time in a smoldering multiple myeloma, we can do a PET or an MRI, wherein we can do an MRI wherein we can find a single lesion more than 5 mm. So even one lesion will qualify as, it will upstage and it will call as active myeloma. So other clinical features of multiple myeloma: fatigue, recurrent infection, cord compression, vertebral collapse or paraspinal plasmacytoma, hyperviscosity, bleeding and bruising, extramedullary diseases. So these are the other features. So if we come to fatigue, we know by multiple mechanisms like anemia, hypercalcemia can give rise to fatigue. A recurrent infection, because there is immunoparesis. Some amount of immunoglobulins are increasingly produced, but the other immunoglobulins which are to be protecting against the infection are also not produced. They are less in number. So that is recurrent infection. T cell dysfunction also happens. Okay. So cord compression, if you see, because of the fractures, that could be vertebral collapse, and paraspinal plasmacytoma can give rise to cord compression. So it's an emergency. Whenever the patient has a new back pain with neurological deficit, MRI spine urgent and start with DEXA immediately, plus or minus RP or surgery. Hyperviscosity, this M band, if it is an M protein, IgM, then in those cases there is a high risk for hyperviscosity. Okay, and the clinical significance is blurred vision, headache, confusion, mucosal bleeding, more common in IgM, multiple myeloma or Waldenstrom. Okay, so they treat it with plasmapheresis. So bleeding and bruising, there could be thrombocytopenia, acquired VWD because of the increased M band and factor inhibition. Okay, so because of all this, there could be increased bleeding risk. Extramedullary disease, plasma cells escapes the marrow into the soft tissues. So in those areas, there could be plasma cell extramedullary disease. So clinical significance 1 to 2% at diagnosis, 8% develop later. Mayo supplemental high risk criteria, and it is best detected by PET-CT. So it could be extramedullary. Okay, because you have destroyed the medullary plasma cells, but these plasma cells could be present in the soft tissue from where it grows. So it could be post-transplant or post-treatment induction and consolidation. The patient can still develop extramedullary plasmacytomas. So diagnostic approach, step-by-step flow chart. Okay, when to suspect unexplained anemia, bone pain, elevated creat, hypercalcemia, incidental improving. And one more thing, whenever there is an AG reversal. Okay, so AG reversal gives a clue that globulins are high. So we need to think about myeloma if it is in the background of all these features. Okay, so first step is to do an M protein screen. How do you do that? We do a serum protein apoptosis, serum immunofixation, serum free light chain assay, urine protein apoptosis with urine immunofixation. Step 2 is to know the disease burden. So do a CBC plus differentials, beta 2 microglobulin and albumin levels, LDH, calcium, creatinine, and quantitative immunoglobulins. So CBC and differential, if there is anemia and along with it there is leukopenia or thrombocytopenia, that means the marrow has already replaced the marrow has been replaced by plasma cells and it is suppressing the normal hematopoiesis. So beta 2 microglobulin, albumin. So all this will give a marker for increased disease activity, LDH, calcium, creatinine, in quantitative immunoglobulins to know whether there is any immunoparesis. Okay, so step 3 is bone marrow evaluation. Do a bone marrow aspiration and biopsy and document the plasma cell percentage, immunophenotyping by flow cytometry and fish panel. So all this will give an idea about the plasma cell disorder. Step 4 is imaging. So what and all we can do? We can do an whole body low dose CT scan. Okay, you can even do a PET-CT, whole body MRI or conventional X-ray only if nothing else is available. So usually we'll prefer a whole body low dose CT, or we can do a PET-CT. Okay, so it helps in identifying what is whether the marrow is infiltrated or there is any lytic lesion. And also if we could do an whole body MRI, it will be very much helpful to pick up even 5 lesion as a lytic lesion. Okay, step 5 is risk stratification. So what are the risk stratification that we know? ISS, RISS staging, fish-based risk, M-SMART, and MRD assessment. If CR or near CR is achieved and smoldering multiple myeloma, apply Mayo 2220 criteria. So first we need to know the M protein screen, whether this is really myeloma, whether there is a secretory nature for it, and urine protein apoptosis along with urine immunofixation. Then disease burden. Okay, then comes the bone marrow aspiration and biopsy evaluation, and then imaging, then the risk stratification.